Hello, everyone!
We kick things off in odd fashion as our hero Sei is told by the leader of his party that he is getting kicked out. Sei did see this coming because as a porter, he is pretty much useless when it comes to fighting. He did train his combat skills and even honed his pharmaceutical knowledge, but it wasn't enough for him to become as strong as the other adventurers. He wonders if it really is impossible for a carrier like him to become a bronze-tier adventurer, and then we learn that he had reincarnated to this world for the very reason of traveling around the world like Dua Lipa. As a carrier, he possesses the unique skill of storage, and he chose convenience over strength. However, despite not being able to fight, our hero is going to conquer the world. Now, we move to a typically shady scene, where our boy is enjoying himself with a cat girl. The unspeakable acts continue for a while, till we see elephant water and kitty water everywhere. Once they are done, the cat girl tells Sei that she loves him and wants him to stay with her forever. Now, this takes us to a flashback where our hero was given the choice to reincarnate into another world. He obviously said yes, because he saw all the fun videos on comic guzzlers and wanted to live that life. Sei got reborn as a baby into a wealthy, royal family, and right from his childhood, he was a hit with the ladies. However, he chose the skill of a carrier when he was creating his profile, and this is not what royal families tolerate. Sei's dad wanted to bury the secret of a low-rank job being born into the royal Emberia's family, because he did not want a rumor to spread. Even the angel girl who gave him the choice to reincarnate laughed, because nobody chose such a job before. She wished him all the best, but she also looked more like a demon than an angel. Anyway, we're back to the present now, and learn that Sei has run away, leaving the cat girl behind. He does leave a letter though, which tells her that he is going on a journey. The cat girl's name is revealed to be Nina, and she is told that Sei will return once she is mature enough to marry him, as even he will try to be a suitable man for her. We don't know if this is Drake behavior just yet, because our hero could be below 18 as well. Anyway, he sets off on his journey, and he gets called out by some knights. He is told that he is quite reckless to be traveling on the highway all by himself and that too, without any weapons. Upon closer inspection, the knights notice that he is a carrier, and he says that he is transporting goods from the town of Mott to Emberia's. He also says that he has not heard anything about monsters appearing on this highway, plus he is as fast as the Flash, so he doesn't need any bodyguards. The knights say that monsters are not the issue, as the holy water that is distributed here would prevent that from happening. The real problem is the bandits who keep showing up, and this leads to an intense staring session between the knights and Sei. Just when it looks like some violence may break out, the knights tell Sei that he should be careful, to which he says yes. It's a relief for Sei, but the other knights ask their captain if it was really okay for them to leave him be. After all, he did look suspicious, but the captain laughs and says that perhaps Sei is a scout from a gang of bandits. Either way, there is no need to worry because Sei is a carrier, which is a trash job. These people usually have the lowest magical qualities and growth rates, with their only ability being able to carry luggage. So, even if our hero is from a gang of bandits, it's no big deal at all. We also learn that due to the storage skills, carriers are banned from entering important facilities, as it can lead to sabotage or assassination. Carriers truly are the weakest in this world. So why on earth did Sei choose this job? Anyway, we now move to the city, and in the middle of the hustle and bustle, our eyes are immediately taken to a massive set of pillows. A girl is being teased by a gang of men who want her to play with them. She looks quite innocent, but with that body, it's no surprise that she has become a target for shady men. They gang up on her and say that they will show her around town, so she does not know what to do, and Sei shows up at this time. We don't know what he would be able to do in this scenario. But suddenly, the girl thanks the shady men for offering their guidance to her. She believes they genuinely want to help her, so she says that she is looking forward to it. Sei is a bit surprised by this, but does not intervene, even when the men take the curvy girl away with them. Our hero laments that this girl is quite careless, and judging from her naivete, she must be from a noble's family. Even so, He feels it's cringeworthy for such a cheap pickup line to work on a babe like that. Sei theorizes that the girl is probably the daughter of a fallen aristocrat who has been shunned away from society. He says this has nothing to do with him, but then he remembers someone dying in his arms, and this changes his mind. Now we move to an empty house, where the innocent girl is taken to by the goons. She asks what they have for her in this house, so they tell her to go inside and find out for herself. She steps into the house, and at that very moment, the goons lock the door, trapping her inside with them. They grab the helpless girl and slam her to the ground, so she asks them what they are doing. They tell her to shut up because it's diddling time, but she won't go down without a fight, so she lands a kick onto one of the goons' faces. He is surprised that she can pack a punch, or in this case, a kick, but the others say that she must be a low rank who just became an adult. They are warriors with lots of experience, so they can tap into the dark side quite easily. The poor girl is put into a vulnerable position, and it looks like something unforgivable is about to happen. The girl's skin seems to be smooth, which is expected from a noble's daughter, but that's not the important point right now. Suddenly, one of the goons receives a rather merciless blow right in the eggs, and from the looks of it, they have definitely cracked open. Our hero is here with a cheap shot, but will allow it because he's saving a damsel in distress. The other goons are shocked to see this, and they want to know who Sei is. Bro picks up another goon and smashes him to the ground, so he's actually getting to farm some aura. He then pulls a knife and sticks it to the goon's throat, after which he tells the others to release the girl, otherwise he's not going to show any mercy. The bald leader of the goons raises his hands and asks if Sei is a knight who has come to save his girl. He thinks it's cool, but Sei maintains his focus and tells the baldy not to take one step closer. The bald leader tells Sei he needs to chill, because his hostage is a valuable subordinate of the gang. The baldy won't sacrifice him for some random woman he found on the street, and he also apologizes for touching the innocent girl. The bald man seemingly surrenders and says that his subordinates are young, which was why they could not help themselves. He asks for forgiveness, but something seems suspicious. Sei repeats that the gang should release the girl, and only then will he free his hostage. The bald man continues to smile, but notices that the hostage has wet his pants, which is rather embarrassing. He can't have such rumors spread out in the open, otherwise his reputation will get ruined. Suddenly, the baldy raises his weapon and shamelessly smashes the hostages to minced meat that even Hannibal Lecter wouldn't eat. The hostages' insides are sent flying all over the place, and then the baldy gives a word of advice to our hero. He tells him that before he tries saving a beautiful woman, he should consider the difference in strength between him and his opponents. This was meant to intimidate Sei, but he takes this chance to rescue the girl, and he also tells the baldy that he agrees with his reasoning. The move he just used was Flash Step, which is interesting considering he's a carrier. Sei asks the girl if she can stand, but then the baldy asks him if he is her bodyguard or something. Bro says he is not someone important, as he is technically just an adventurer with the job title of carrier. But more importantly, he is a man of culture. Of course, this doesn't exactly help Sei's case, because the goons start laughing at the fact that he is challenging them despite having the weakest job title. They even call him a fool for thinking he can get away with this, but he secretly uses his appraisal skill without them noticing. The goons seem to be ready to get the girl back, but before that, they are going to teach Sei a lesson. However, it is Sei who shows us their power levels for better reference. His opponents include a beast fighter, a swordsman, an assassin, and a warrior, with levels ranging from 10 to 20. The swordsman goes first, as he wishes to test out his red iron sword on him. He tries to talk big, but Sei is not at all fazed by him. He tells us that in this world, one's job decides everything for them. Those with strong jobs will have absolute power, which makes it only natural for them to prey on the weak. For a carrier who cannot fight well, to oppose such people would be to rebel against fate itself. Having said that, Sei claims that these villains are going to lose to trash like him, which would technically make them worse than trash. The swordsman tries to land the first strike, but Sei is able to conjure some nunchucks, and he grabs his sword from him. The swordsman is confused, but then the beast fighter says that they should watch out for Sei's storage skills. Everyone surrounds him now, but it's of no use, as he is able to land multiple blows in their battle. Sei thinks fast, as he conjures a vase to be broken on the beast fighter's head, which makes him unable to see. The assassin tries to land a sneak attack, but Sei whips up some chains and smacks the assassin from below. The warrior goes at him now, but Sei dodges him with ease, and even makes him look like a fool. Now, Sei summons a massive face stone that slams into the warrior, swordsman, and beast fighter, while the assassin hangs from the chain attached to it. Our hero is definitely a strong opponent, but then the bald leader shows up with his weapon and slams it into him. Luckily, Sei summons a shield right before impact, so he doesn't absorb the full blow. Even so, he is sent flying away and he has to think fast, so he summons a mattress right before crashing into a wall. He has some serious big brain energy, and the baldy commends him for being able to use such combat skills. However, the difference between them in strength is far too great to be compensated for. The bald leader notices that the room looks quite tidy, and that's when he realizes that Sei had stored the items that were here in advance, so that he could use them in battle. It's quite rare to see a carrier display such fine skills, but reality is harsh. Sei has the weakest job title, and he will never be able to compete against a stronger opponent. After all, the baldy is a level 30 warrior, so he would naturally get carried away. The bald leader tries to land the finisher blow, but Sei summons some flour before he can do that. The baldy keeps striking the flour, but this only creates a visual obstacle for him. He says that such childish tricks will not work on him, and he asks Sei if he is trying to run away. He says he won't do that because he is the one who lured them all here. He knows that the goons raided this warehouse and made it their base to store valuable things. The building is made of durable materials that are resistant to fire, but Sei has modified it a bit to make it more airtight. Now, he asks the baldy if he knows what will happen if he were to use fire magic here. The baldy has no idea that flour is flammable, and Sei was expecting him to be like Jon Snow. He then summons some weird statue to shield himself, and then he lights the flour on fire to cause a massive explosion. He walks away from the fire as if he is Sung Jin-woo, and tells the baldy to die in ignorance and baldness. The girl is shocked to see how our hero was able to pull this off, and he asks her if she is fine. She does seem to be unharmed, and she thanks him for saving her life. Bro uses his appraisal skills to learn that her name is Lunamiria Tartot, and she is a level 20 monk. Sei tells her not to trust strangers too much next time onwards, and says that he is leaving now. She asks him to wait, but he says that people are gathering outside the warehouse. It would be wise for her to get away from here as well, and then Bro vanishes instantly. Now, we move to the nighttime where we see a curvy babe dancing for the patrons of a tavern. One of these patrons happens to be Sei, who is definitely enjoying the view and his drinks. He remembers Luna and how she had a last name, meaning he was right about her being a noble's daughter. However, he does not understand why she would visit such a dangerous place. He feels she may have been overprotected, but since he does not know much about her or her family, it would be best to stay away from Luna. Of course, his intrusive thoughts say otherwise, and then we see a girl asking to perform her healing services at this bar for free. The bar owner is not convinced, but she says that she is on a monastic journey. This girl is none other than Luna, so Sei gets up and asks what's going on. She recognizes him from before, and then the bar owner says that Luna wants to stay here for free as she is on a monastic journey. The bar owner says such things were common during his grandfather's time, but not so much nowadays. He does not want to be hated by the church, so he offers a room to Luna, but it will be a shared one with 5 other people. She thanks him for the room, but Sei is quick to realize that those 5 other people are not going to be pleasant for Luna to deal with. A Chad boy will not allow such things to happen, so he pays for Luna's own private room. The bar owner asks if he really wants to do this, and he says yes. Luna thanks him for what he's done, but he says it's nothing. He reveals that he was once saved by the priest of the Holy Church, so he owes his life to them. It's his way of returning the favor at a cheap price. He is about to leave, but then Luna says that she is a monk of the Holy Church. She introduces herself properly and thanks Sei once again for saving her earlier. Our hero also introduces himself and then he goes back to drinking. Luna then asks the bar owner for a free meal, but he can't believe her audacity. Luna hilariously says that she is on a monastic journey again, and this makes some of the shady men in the bar invite her to their table. Luna has not learned her lesson still, as she accepts their offer despite the obvious dangers that only she cannot detect. Sei gets annoyed, and he steps in between the shady men to ask Luna if she would like to have a meal with him. She says yes happily, and then we shift back to the curvy dancer who puts on a show for everyone. As the duo eats their food, Luna asks Sei if he is in the middle of work. He says he's not really working at the moment, but he's heading to Lot Ho's in the Lincore territory. Luna says she too is heading there, so it's quite a coincidence. Basically, her monastic journey involves forming a party and challenging the labyrinth of Lot Ho's. She asks Sei if he has the same objective as her, to which he says yes. He's also planning to find some work in Lot Ho's, so Luna believes this must be God's guidance. Sei says that on the road, you need a companion, and in life, you need kindness. Now, Luna asks Sei if he would like to travel with her, and she is quite determined. It's hard to say no to pillows like hers, so our hero says he will travel with her. He also says that he's a commoner, so she does not need to address him with honorifics. Luna says that won't do because not only did he save her, but she may also be a burden to him in the future. Sei thinks that Luna is a very serious person, but she cutely smiles back at him, which makes him smile. The two of them have a nice little chat over their food, and they genuinely seem to enjoy each other's company. After the meal, Luna goes to her room, and they wish each other good night. Later, we see Sei in his birthday suit, preparing a warm bath for himself. He can use bits of fire and water magic, but it's clearly not as strong as a proper warrior's. While he washes his body, he also trains his magic and storage skills. Bro has to train even when he is resting, because this is the only way he will be able to survive in this world with the weakest job. He suddenly says that he can't do it anymore, so we wonder if he has given up on this life, but he actually means that he can't control his python anymore. We now learn that another unique ability of a carrier is automatic recovery, which means that even if he unleashes his elephant water, it will get refilled immediately. It's like Kurosaki from Astro Boy, so it becomes difficult for our hero to spend a night without a woman by his side. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door, so Sei opens it without getting dressed. We can see that it's the dancer from earlier, and her name is Manhwa. She is pleased to see such a big sweet room, and she asks Sei if he feels lonely sleeping over here. She did notice him staring at her during her performance downstairs, so she suggests having a wonderful night together. However, when she looks at his chain, she notices that he is a carrier, which instantly puts her off, meaning she would be perfect as a TikTok girl. Manhwa reveals that she thought Sei was an advanced job adventurer, considering he paid for Luna. She even wanted him to put a baby inside her, but since jobs are inherited, she would not want a carrier's child. She then offers to spend the night with Sei as long as he is willing to spend some cash on her. Her shady technique is apparently the best in the world, and she can also use it as a form of birth control. She even teases Sei by saying a carrier like him will burst in seconds. Our hero is unbothered, and he proves her wrong almost instantly by totally dominating the session. The unspeakable acts carry on for a while, and Manhwa is not able to keep up with Sei. She says she is about to go crazy, but Sei tells her that he is just getting started. He has confirmed all of her sensitive spots, so now is the time for the main course. He says that he will not touch her sensitive areas now, so she should try not to explode too quickly. An endless night of shady acts follows, so Manhwa must really be regretting her earlier words. Tons of explosions later, we reach the next day, as the sun rises and shines bright on our hero. The lights are almost as blinding as the weekend, and Sei says that it's a great morning. He likes the view too, but Manhwa is too worn out to do anything at all. Sei mocks her by saying he's disappointed in her for not being able to carry out one more session with him before he heads out, thus proving that bro is a raging bull. Now we see a carriage ready for Luna and Sei, which amazes the monk girl. However, this is actually a shared carriage, which is the best way to reach Lathos, as it goes to the royal capital of Myram. As the journey carries on, Luna thanks Sei for paying the carriage fee, so he asks if she was planning to hitchhike a ride to the capital. She says yes because she is on a monastic journey, but bro can't believe that she has been able to stay safe till she met him. Soon enough, Sei notices the capital and decides to take off his hoodie. Luna asks him if he is fine showing his face now, and he says it's fine because they are no longer in the Amberia's territory. There's someone he does not wish to meet there, so the coast is clear for now. The monk girl asks him if there is someone who holds a grudge against him, but he changes the topic by asking her what she means by a monastic journey. She explains that for the ones who have been given the job of a monk, they will need to visit various areas while exterminating monsters while also treating people. While it may sound impossible for someone like Luna, she says that this will elevate her from a monk to a priest. While being guided by God, she intends to go on adventures with friends and support each other. It will be just like the story of the saint, but Sei does not seem to know about this story. Luna says that it is a biography she has read a lot of times. The saint was apparently a woman who would treat the poor, get rid of monsters, explore labyrinths, and also punish the bad guys. The saint would go all around the world, solving problems with the help of her apostles. Lately, the lords who want to invite wealthy families or priests to their territories often have knights or adventurers guard them while they level up. This is why almost no one goes on a monastic journey any longer. Luna says that her birthplace is in the countryside, deep in the mountains, and her family is not rich like other nobles. This is why she does not have any cash to hire bodyguards. But even so, she wishes to form a party and challenge a labyrinth, just like her Saint Sama. The monk girl now asks Sei what his purpose is in life, as she believes he may want to save the world like the earlier hero. However, he says that is not the case because he is a carrier after all. He simply does not want his life to be restricted like heroes or saviors. After all, they may be strong, but they also have the added responsibility of giving hope to the others. He says that the world is wide, so it would be a shame if he could not live his life the way he wanted to. He does not wish to fight others, or to become the strongest man. He just wants to be free and travel the world, which probably explains why he chose this job title. Now, Sei and Luna enter the town and they explore the marketplace. Luna enjoys her time in a pond, but hilariously slips because she is a bit goofy. Sei helps her up, but it's hard to control himself when he is close to such amazing pillows. She gives him an alluring look as well, so bro needs to keep his intrusive thoughts at bay. Later, the both of them check into an inn and wish each other a good night. Sei acts all cool and composed in front of Luna, but as soon as she is out of sight, our hero shows us how he's really feeling. He eventually stumbles across 3 women of the night, and judging from the actions they show him, it is quite obvious what is going on inside Sei's head. As expected, tons of shady acts follow, leading to multiple explosions, and our hero flexing his unbeatable elephant skills. However, the next day is made out to go completely normally, as Sei greets Luna without giving even the slightest hint of what he was doing the earlier night. They get into a carriage again, and continue their journey till they reach their next stop. As Sei munches on some food, he tells us that they are getting closer to Lathos. Luna asks him if he has ever been to the area, but he says that he can only sense it from the atmosphere. The passers-by look very much like adventurers, and they are also being wary of each other. This means they are all trying to get promoted to bronze rank. Luna is impressed, but Sei says that observation skills are crucial towards his survival in this world. Strong adventurers have a different kind of aura around them, so it is easy for him to spot them. Even commoners can pick up on it, but then our hero becomes alert as he notices a couple of female adventurers inside the next carriage ride. Sei tells Luna they are not bad, so she asks if they too are strong adventurers, but we don't think that is what he meant when he said those words. Sei does not want to seem like a creep, so he says that the girls are dressed well, leading Luna to deduce he is rating them as per their equipment. Bro says he needs to observe them further, to which Luna says yes, although she has no idea what she is encouraging. Anyway, we move to the next bar, where we see the same girls getting drunk with some delicious booze. They ask for more of it, and Sei tells Luna that in order to become a fully fledged adventurer, what's most important is to have a sense of danger. He reminds her that she left all her belongings in the carriage, but she does not see any issue with that. After all, the driver is a kind man who offered to look after her items while she had her lunch. But this is exactly what Sei is warning her about. From this point and onward, the adventurers will be quite confident in their skills, so they may behave badly. He tells Luna that she should not have trusted the coachman, and should have taken her items with her instead. Of course, he is an exception himself because he is a carrier. If he puts other people's stuff into his storage and then ends the owner, then he will not be able to take out the items again. Sei also reveals that the ones who put their stuff next to their feet are the ones who are most on guard. If anyone tries to act funny, they will simply chop their hands off with their knives. Similarly, if Luna lets her guard down, then her stuff will be gone in an instant. Money is extremely important in this world, and there are some who would take the lives of others just for a few silver coins. It's quite scary for Luna, but then Sei says that she should not trust strangers so easily either. She had asked him why he was hiding his face earlier, so he says he could be a robber or even Diddy himself in order to spook her out. Funnily enough, Luna only laughs at the faces he makes, and finds it oddly alluring that Bro can be so shady. She even teases him by asking what she should do if he decides it's diddling time. Bro feels that Luna is hopeless because she has been raised without understanding what evil intent is supposed to be. Her innocence will lead her and her comrades to trouble, so he needs Luna to grow and understand the world of malice and evil. He wonders if such an opportunity will ever arrive, but he has spoken too soon, as we see a robber smacking the coachman down, after which he takes Luna's stuff and runs away. The coachman shouts out for help, saying there's a thief, and this catches the attention of Sei and Luna. The robber seems to be getting away, and Sei tells Luna that the briefcase in his hands must belong to her. This makes her panic, and Sei feels that he could be able to catch up to the robber, but this would be a good chance to teach the monk girl some common sense. Judging from her reaction, it seems as if the briefcase has some important items, so Sei would like to engrave it into her heart that she should not trust others so easily. However, Luna looks really sad, as she bursts out crying, and our hero can't just stand there and let this happen, so he tells her to wait here while he goes to retrieve her stuff. The chase is on, and even though the robber is quite fast, Sei is able to catch up to him in no time. The robber tries to escape into a narrow alley, which may make things troublesome for Sei if he is too far away. The robber bumps into a girl on his way, and this seems to make her very angry. Sei can sense the rage, as the girl drops her stuff and picks up a pebble. Her name is Zoffy, and she is a level 12 assassin with amazing throwing skills. She lands a direct hit on the robber's foot with the pebble, and it causes him a world of pain. He is not able to understand what is going on, and before he can recover, Zoffy throws another pebble right at his face with all her might. It's another direct hit, and the robber falls into some carts. Despite all the damage, the robber gets back up on his feet and says that he won't go down that easily. Sei notices that the lowly girl's throwing efficiency is on point, and now someone else shows up. She asks the others to move aside, and then she unleashes a mini tornado. The robber gets caught up in it, as he is lifted off the ground, and the girl says that he has interrupted her tea time. Her name is Scarlet, and she is a level 19 magician, so she tells the robber to get lost. The villain is tossed away with no mercy, and Sei is impressed by Scarlet's magic control. After all, She was able to keep the tornado to a certain size in order to avoid damaging the surrounding area. However, due to this, the tornado wasn't as strong, and the robber doesn't get too badly injured. He curses his luck, but continues to run, which surprises everyone, because it takes a tough guy to be able to run despite so much drama. Sei says that this sucks because he has to spend all this time and energy on one measly robber. It may be getting crowded, but the end is near, and Bro gets to work by using his flash step. This allows him to keep up with the robber, and he catches up easy peasy lemon squeezy. He finds himself right in line with the robber now, so he summons an arrow gun and launches an arrow right at the culprit. This is not to harm him, but rather to bring him to the roof via rope attached to the arrow. Now, Sei is right behind the robber, and he tells him not to underestimate the powers of a carrier. He launches an attack on the robber, causing him to fall down, and Sei makes sure to attach a chain ball to him as well in order to ensure he doesn't start running again. With nowhere to go, the culprit is approached by Sei, who tells him that this game of tag is over, that is, of course, if he does not wish to lose his life. He orders the loser to hand over the briefcase to him, but the robber has one last moment of defiance, as he throws the briefcase away and brings out some screws that he uses to unchain the chain ball from his leg. This is getting a bit extra now because Bro just needs to take the L and stop. The robber makes a run for it, and is confident that Sei will not be able to catch him. However, that is not really a problem for our hero, as he lands on top of the robber and knocks him out almost instantly. He is still upset because his workload has been increased for no good reason. Anyway, the others gather around to see what the commotion is about. Sei tells us that such robbers exist everywhere, and it would be impossible for him to catch them all, because he's not a Pokemon master. At least he got Luna's stuff back, but he notices that her briefcase's latch is broken. Something falls out of it, and this causes all the women in the area to lose their minds. Sei wonders why they are acting like this, but then he notices that a certain type of toy has fallen out of the briefcase. Even the people of Comic Guzzlers would not have seen that coming. This is obviously a pretty big deal, and the challenge for Sei is to explain the situation. Scarlet comes to the scene, and even she is shocked to see the toy on the ground. Our hero can only see judgmental eyes passing all kinds of judgment on him, so he has lost all the aura he had farmed until that point. Zoffy is also here, and he is confused as to why Bro has this when he does not have a kitty. However, she takes a look at his cake and realizes that there is always another entrance. She is clearly traumatized by what she has just learned, so our hero tries to evade this hilarious situation. As he does his best, Luna comes to the scene, and the look on her face says it all. Now, Bro realizes why she was being so paranoid about her briefcase, but he does not want to make a scene here, so he puts on a calm, casual face. However, Luna is not so calm, and she panics like crazy because she does not want her secret to get exposed. Sei also begins to worry, because this is a very tricky position for him. Of course, he does not want Luna to face this embarrassment, so he begins to laugh like a madman in front of everyone. He says that he is glad he got the ordered item back from the goon, because if it had been stolen, he would have lost the trust of his client. After all, it is a very expensive item, but his words only make everyone around him more skeptical of his character. Now, Sei asks the coachman if he is hurt, and he will see to his injuries, but the coachman says nice try Diddy. Sei tells him he can use healing magic, so there is no need to worry, but with all that has happened right now, the only thing they can do is worry. The coachman has no desire to be anywhere near Sei, and he tells him to get away from him, which is understandable. Now, the carriage journey continues, and we can see that all the passengers are keeping their distance from our hero. It's quite awkward, but what can you do about it? Time passes by, but the tension can be cut with a knife. So Scarlet asks the coachman to stop the carriage as she wishes to pluck some flowers. We all know what that means, and the coachman says that she should not go too far away, as there are lots of monsters here. She says she has some combat experience, so she has no need to fear. It's time for a break, and the coachman tells everyone to take care of the monsters if they show up. Everyone takes some time to relax, and Sei seems to already be by the river, looking into his reflection. He sees Scarlet and tells her that he can go check for monsters before she does her business. She says there is no need for that, as the bush she will be using has no monsters in it. Sei is intrigued, as he can feel her magic flow, meaning she was already scanning the area for monsters. Suddenly, Scarlet calls Bro a creep and tells him not to talk to her, so I guess we all can agree that Sei is cooked. What's even worse is that Zoffy shows up and asks how Drake and Diddy engage with each other. Sei tells her this is a misunderstanding, but it's too late. He says it was an ordered item for someone else, but Zoffy tells him she had a senior like this at one point. Sei reiterates that he loves women, but Zoffy thinks he plays for both teams. She also doesn't want him to get too close to her. But before this embarrassment continues, we hear a loud shriek. Sei rushes to the scene, which is a river. It makes sense because monsters usually gather near such places. He also assumes there are predators here, not just monsters. Once he reaches the spot, he notices a massive creature in front of him that looks like some mutated centipede. It's called a great white-legged redhead, which seems a bit excessive. We can see that Scarlet is here, and she inadvertently relieves herself like a waterfall. Bro comments that he got quite the view, which makes her embarrassed. Sei doesn't care about all that for now, because he has quite a fight ahead of him. The monster does not chase after them, probably because it prefers to attack fleeing prey. Sei doesn't mind landing the first strike, so he unleashes magic injection. He does land a hit, but this only makes the monster angry, and it breaks his sword. Bro has realized that he messed up, so now he has to evade some strikes. The covered stranger from earlier shows up to the scene and notices the chase is on. Sei knows he has to keep the beast away from the magic girl, so he thinks of different ways to distract his opponent. At that moment, Zoffy shows up and decides it's time to show off some of her own skills. She lands quite a few attacks on the monster, but Sei tells her she won't be able to hit any of the vital points with a short sword. On that note, the giant centipede attacks Zoffy with rage and injures her, after which it tries to gobble her up. Things are not looking good, but then Sei rescues her in the nick of time. He checks up on the assassin girl, but she is just a bit taken aback by the monster's power. He's not following them, but Zoffy looks like she is in pain. She seems to be affected by some weak poison, so Sei says that Luna can heal her with her holy magic. At that very moment, Luna shows up, looking for her master, and it's an opportune time. However, our hero senses something is off. After all, why did no one, including Scarlet, notice the monster in the forest earlier? The centipede's legs allow for instant acceleration, and it also has a huge jaw with a special outer shell. For such a beast to cover its tracks, the only way would be to hide underground. The moment Sei figures it out, the monster attacks him from below. Luckily, our hero is able to dodge the attack before receiving any kind of significant damage. Even so, the battle has just begun, and Luna calls out to her lover boy. Sei immediately tells her to watch out, because the beast is targeting her. He tells Luna to run, but much to his surprise, she is getting ready to strike it. The nun girl brings out her baseball bat and charges it up with her magical power, after which she lands a direct hit on the centipede. It's a pretty powerful blow, and it distracts the monster long enough for Sei to charge at it with his weapon. He too lands a critical hit which damages the beast pretty badly. His actions aside, our hero comments that Luna is a lot stronger than he had imagined. Her baseball bat is actually a rod made of red iron, which allows magical power to pass through it much better. Luna could fill it with enough power to crack the monster's outer shell, which is quite impressive. Having said that, he is the main character, so he's the one who's going to show off now. The monster isn't dead yet, as it charges into the ground. The shock waves send Luna crashing into a tree, and then the monster targets her. With her rod out of reach, the holy girl is in a tight spot, and she prays to God for a miracle. At that very moment, Sei shows up like a total boss man and gets ready for action. He activates some kind of power by striking a pose, and he uses one of the broken pieces of the monster's jaw as his core weapon. With that, our hero manages to push the fragment right through the monster, splitting it into two almost like Gojo. Bro looks super cool and is farming tons of aura here. Luna watches on in amazement as Sei has defeated the level 25 beast. He seems to remind her of someone, so it's time for us to slip into some kind of flashback for now. We see her reading one of her favorite stories as a child, which was called The Story of a Saint's Pilgrimage. It's about a saint who would go on a journey to various places, healing the poor, punishing the wicked, and undergoing several trials. This saint would be in difficult situations, but whenever that would happen, a man would appear to help her out. He would turn out to be an apostle of God, so we can see the parallels being drawn here. Now, we're back to the present where Sei is posing harder than Sung Jin-woo from Solo Leveling, as we see the split monster behind him. Now that he has saved his babe, he asks if she is okay. Luna's heart is beating really fast, but the both of them realize that the monster is still somehow alive. Before Sei can act on it, someone casts a spell that makes the monster explode. Sei and Luna look behind to see that it's actually Scarlet who wanted revenge for being humiliated by the beast. Back at the carriage, we can see that the other folks have defeated the remaining monsters, so all is well. Now, Luna heals the poisoned Zoffy, and she is amazed by how much better she is feeling now. She wants to show some gratitude, but Luna says that Sei is the one who should be thanked. Of course, Zoffy still looks at him as a creep, but at least she knows his name now. Now, one of the nerds of the group says that other monsters are the larvae of the giant centipede. They are venomous and dangerous, and he assumes that they exist here because of a lack of holy water. The other adventurers lament that they couldn't fight the adult, but they don't know Sei already did that. Zoffy watches on as the adventurers admit they would have never survived against an adult monster, and Luna is proud of her Sei-sama for being such a boss man. Our hero, on the other hand, is busy collecting the spoils of his hard work. He manages to get a 7th grade magic stone, which should be worth around 2 large silver coins. He can also use it for medicine, but then Scarlet shows up because she knows Bro saw her kitty cat. Sei denies it, but his face can't lie. He continues to maintain he was busy fighting the giant centipede, but Scarlet warns him not to say a word of this to anyone. Sei is least bothered, even though he agrees not to open his mouth. Scarlet finds some relief in the knowledge that he is not interested in women, but she doesn't know that Sei is a man of culture. Luna also tells her not to be mean, as Sei risked his life to fight the monster. Zoffy adds that they wouldn't have been alive if Sei hadn't saved them. Scarlet is forced to agree with them, and our hero gives her a smug smile to rub it in. Now, the journey continues, and it's time for everyone to introduce themselves properly. Luna talks about how she is on a monastic journey and wants to challenge the labyrinth in Lot Hose. Zoffy says she is an assassin who is out of a job, so being an adventurer in Lot Hose is the next best option for her. Scarlet boasts about graduating from the Royal Magic Academy with excellent grades, after which she says she wants to become an adventurer, or even a wizard. Sei says that he's a carrier and he's in Luna's party. He too wishes to work as an adventurer in Lot Hose, so everyone has the same destination. Luna feels that this must be God's guidance, and she asks the other girls to form a party around Sei as their leader. Scarlet is obviously not on board with this, but Zoffy says that she owes Sei her life as he saved her. She also feels he's quite capable, but the magic girl argues that Lot Hose will have many adventurers who are better than our hero. She also does not wish to tarnish her reputation, as she does not want others to talk about her roaming in a creep's party. Sei gives it back to her by saying it would look bad if others found out how Scarlet unleashed her sprinkler because of Sei. That was some serious emotional damage, and soon we the carriage reaching a town close to Lot Hose. Sei and Luna get 2 cottages with gardens, which is quite fancy, but also expensive. Luna isn't complaining, and then Sei gives the holy nun her stuff in a new briefcase, considering the one she had broke during the awkward encounter. Luna thanks our hero for the many things he has done, but he feigns ignorance and says that they should have each other's backs considering they are in the same party. With that, he tells her to rest well and leaves for his own inn. Our hero would like to forget the whole commotion with the suspicious toy, as there is no proof that Luna has been using it. He is ready to accept this explanation, but then we shift to Luna, who clearly has a shady look on her face. Now, we can see Sei preparing a nice hot bath for himself by creating an open jacuzzi-type device with hot water. It's quite relaxing, and he has a nice garden view to top it off. He treats himself to a drink as well, even though it may not be Japanese sake. Sei feels that Luna probably has never had such an experience, and wonders if he should use this opportunity to invite her. Then again, he feels there's no way a best girl like her would do such a thing with him. However, there's a slight possibility that Luna is not as reserved as she lets on. He even imagines a scenario where he succeeds in inviting her, but this is just a scenario that is mostly showcased on the hub. The scenario plays out with Bro telling Luna she is a valued party member, and he trusts her with his body. This is why she too should give him a view, and she eventually agrees to it. Bro's intrusive thoughts take over, and his elephant is so overpowered that it can balance his plate too. With all this motivation in his head, Sei decides to invite Luna right now, and he tells us that he doesn't have anything shady in mind, although we know what kind of man he is. Sei reaches Luna's cottage, but before he can knock, he hears something. Perhaps the nun girl is talking to someone, so our hero decides to eavesdrop. Maybe she is talking to herself in her sleep, but upon closer inspection, she is saying that she loves Sei. This is not what he expected to hear, but Luna says that he protected her, and is quite strong too, so he is her ideal person. She continues to say that she loves our hero, and compares him to an apostle of God. Of course, Sei feels he has heard something he shouldn't have, as Luna holds him in very high regard. He can connect the dots and figure out that Luna is attaching him to her favorite story, but the title of apostle is unsuitable for him. This is a very harsh world, and even if there is someone he would like to protect, they will just be taken away from Sei like he's experienced earlier. It's almost as if God himself hates our hero, so he feels a carrier like himself could never meet Luna's expectations. Sei has to become a great adventurer who can protect everything he treasures. And on this note, he decides to leave. He is going to pretend as if he never heard Luna, but then she comments on something being big, which totally shocks him. Turns out that Luna isn't exactly doing holy things in her room, and Sei is curious because she is calling out his name as she continues. Bro can't control his curiosity, so he sneaks a peek, but what he sees cannot be unseen. We now know who the toy is for, and clearly Luna really wants our hero to herself. This goes on for a while, and after witnessing some unspeakable acts, Sei stands there completely taken aback as he watches Luna have an intense... The toy pops out, and Luna rests after an intense experience. Sei is visibly surprised, but he watches on as Luna uses a purification spell on the toy to summon an angel. Sei can't believe what he's seeing as this angel cleans up the toy of all the kitty water it has absorbed. Now, we move to Zoffy, who is munching on some snacks. She notices Sei, and asks if he is going out somewhere, but she notices that his python is ready to attack. He can't even explain himself properly, as so many things happened at once, so his brain has somewhat short-circuited. He has to go to a woman of the night in order to clear his head, but then Zoffy tells him that there is no such profession here, which is Sei's worst nightmare. Bro thinks that she is lying about this, but she says that she has already checked the whole place, and there's nothing at all. Since this is a small town that's anyway close to Lot Ho's, there is no demand as such over here. They will be reaching Lot Ho's tomorrow, so Bro will have to control himself for now. However, if you have seen the things that Sei has seen, such a wait would be impossible. He can't afford to remain this way during the entire carriage ride tomorrow, but Zoffy decides to have some fun here by teasing our hero. She then tells Sei that since he saved her life, she is willing to help him out with his current predicament. Naturally, this leads to a tongue-twister session in an alley, away from the sight of other folks. Zoffy is going to town, and Sei seems to appreciate the enthusiasm. This goes on for a while, and eventually Zoffy gets her elephant water. She's surprised by the quantity, but Sei is surprised by her technique. Does Hawk to a level, so he asks if Zoffy does this a lot. She says this is just to repay her debt, although her life should be worth a lot more than this. Zoffy explains that she would pamper her previous boss in exchange for gifts, because he had Drake-level preferences. This is where she learned all her techniques from, and Sei figures this world is pretty much the same as his previous world. Some things never change, but Sei's elephant is up in attention again. Zoffy can't believe this, but she feels she has done her duty. Sei tells her to wait because he wants to make a deal. He knows that Zoffy didn't have any potions on her, and these are needed if she wants to become an adventurer. They can be the difference between life and death, so Bro is willing to offer them to Zoffy as he has loads of them. Of course, this would be in exchange for whenever he is in a difficult spot, and right now is one such situation. Zoffy thinks about it and asks to add her lodging fee too. It's a pretty high ask, but Sei has loads of cash, so it doesn't matter to him. His room is nearby, so he'd like to get this done and dusted. Now, they enter our hero's room, and Zoffy knows this is not going to be an easy deal, because this is no ordinary python. It's around the same thickness as the item she saw earlier, so she wonders if the toy was modeled after Sei. Even Bro realizes that she's right about this. Now, Zoffy asks if the toy was custom-made for a client, to which Sei says yes. Puts a lot of weird images in her head, but Bro tells her to chill because he is a true man of culture. It doesn't matter to Zoffy, as it's impossible to buy a man here, but before Sei can counter her statement, he likes what is being shown. With that, his shady intentions awaken, and he tells Zoffy that he will just have to teach her body which side he prefers. He also tells her that if she doesn't do her job well, then she won't get any potions. He hopes she has braced herself, but then Zoffy pulls an Uno reverse and takes the lead. She says that she will be taking all of Sei's potions, because she is confident in her abilities. Zoffy says that Bro is the one who should brace himself, because her previous boss had begged her to become his mistress. Zoffy is ready without any warming up, and there seems to be merit in her claims. With that, the activities begin, and both parties are impressed by one another. Zoffy isn't going to go easy on Sei, but he isn't going to hold back either. The session is quite intense, as Zoffy is using all kinds of bedchamber techniques to control her insides via mana. This enhances the experience, thus making the technique difficult to acquire. Due to her methods, everything is intensified, and it's as if 100 hands are working at Sei. Zoffy is clearly an expert at this, so that makes her a dangerous companion. It's quite an impressive skill, but Bro is not going to back down. Zoffy decides to switch it up because she feels taking the lead will give her the advantage. This does help her case, as she facilitates an influx of elephant water. Zoffy too is overwhelmed, and she is amazed by Sei's quantity. She calls him a stud pig, and is confident that Sei won't be able to stand until tomorrow. Zoffy does compliment him on his abilities because no man has been able to keep up with her till now. But then Bro brings out his trump card, Auto Recovery. Our hero even strikes a pose, but Zoffy can't comprehend how this is even possible. Sei is ready for round 2, but Zoffy needs to rest a little first. However, Sei tells her she has to do her job properly if she wants all his potions, so she goes ahead with his request. The whole night goes by, and Zoffy is made to eat her own words. We move to the next day now, as we see the carriage and its members entering Lotho's. Zoffy is completely drained, but Sei is fresh as ever. She asks our hero how he is so unfazed, and even asks if he is a breeding horse. He says such a job does not exist, but he does give credit to Zoffy for being one of very few women who can keep up with him to such a degree. For her efforts, he gives her 2 potions, which is nowhere near all of them. Zoffy says this was not her full power, but we all know she's just trying to act tough. Scarlet can see strong-looking adventurers everywhere, so she is ready to join whomever offers her an invitation. She does notice that Sei and Zoffy have become a lot closer, and feels it is because they fought a monster together. Scarlet then asks Luna about these 2, but she misinterprets them for her twin peaks. Anyway, Sei says the adventure registration window is crowded, so they should have a meal first. Luna is on board with that idea. Now we learn about the promotion exam, which is the only method where one can acquire ranks that are achieved through the approval of the Adventurers Guild. The ranks are Iron, Bronze, Silver, and Gold. God-level adventurers are treated like nobles, but the conditions for promotion depend on your contributions to the guild. This is why adventurers go beyond their means to do the most difficult of tasks. Even skilled people take years to raise their rank, but this is where the Lotho's dungeon comes into play. It's called the Bronze Rank Promotion Dungeon, because the conditions for promotion are clearly outlined here. Basically, Sei will have to fight and defeat some particular monsters in the dungeon if he wants to get bronze rank. People have lost their lives like this, but Sei is the main character of the story, so he feels he is destined to get promoted to bronze rank, thus making life a bit easier for himself. Now, we see the guild's receptionist, who admits she's a bit jealous of Sei as he has managed to get his own harem at such a young age. He maintains his focus and tells her to register Zoffy and Luna as adventurers. He also needs some intel, so he offers some extra cash to the receptionist. She says he must be really wealthy to hand out coins like this. After all, the intel he needs on the town's surroundings is free. However, if he wants more information, then that can be arranged at a price. Sei does not follow, so the receptionist says it's information on the weaknesses of the labyrinth bosses and masters. Sei is surprised to learn about labyrinth masters, so the babe figures he's like Jon Snow. She decides to get the girls registered, and then she takes Sei with her to the archive room. There's a map showing the monster distribution, but Sei can't take the map with him. The labyrinth of Lotho's is flat with only one level, but it's pretty expansive, as even the babe doesn't know how big it is. There's no sun here, but it's still as bright as day over there. The timing is the same as the surface, so Sei should be prepared for camping. Our hero asks if there is a risk of being attacked while camping, so the babe shows some safe zones on the map. These zones have holy water sprinkled all over them to repel monsters. The map is divided into 6 sections, meaning there are 5 territories of labyrinth bosses, and one of the labyrinth master. There are 2 parts for the bronze promotion in Lotho's, with the first one being a practical test. Sei will have to fight a guild examiner to prove his skills, and then there's a subjugation test where he will have to form a party to defeat the labyrinth master. In order to do this, he will need to beat all the zone bosses too. The surprising part is that each zone boss is from level 26 to level 31, and the labyrinth master is level 38. This is way too much for a bronze rank promotion, and the babe agrees with him. The labyrinth has had a high fatality rate, especially in the past few months, because strong monsters other than the bosses show up in groups and surround you. This causes people to run out of strength before they reach their goal. Sei will need to rely on luck to find the bosses before getting drained, and if another party defeats a boss, then they won't appear for the next 10 days. The bulletin board has updates, but nobody has been able to defeat the bosses recently. The reason is that they have become so strong so quickly that each of them is as good as a final boss. Since so many adventurers lost to them, these monsters have been leveling up, which explains the high levels here. Sei wants to know what caused the sudden increase of deaths, and learns that it is due to some sudden mutation. Could be reckless beginners or chaos caused by incorrect information. With such a high risk, the babe asks Bro if he still wants to continue, but he says yes. He needs to obtain bronze rank as soon as possible, and feels that he can do it. Now we move to Luna and Zoffy, both of whom have received their wooden adventurer badges. With this, the both of them can officially join Sei, and he congratulates them. Now, they just need to register as a party together, and even Scarlet is in agreement. However, she asks what the name is going to be. Luna and Zoffy are both excited to come up with some names for the party, but their options aren't exactly the best of the lot. Scarlet isn't even interested in naming the party, so she asks Sei for his option. He says Carrier, but that doesn't sound like a party name. The only way to decide it now is via rock, paper, and scissors. Sei wins it, as we see them being addressed as Adventure Party Carrier at the practical exams. They are to bring their own weapons and equipment for this test, and they enter a battle arena. There are quite a few people in attendance, and the party is told to consider them as spectators. After all, almost everyone has free time at this hour. They can see that they are placing bets, so this is really suspicious behavior. This is probably why Sei's party was being assessed so carefully, and he doesn't want to use his trump card from the start, but he believes it can't be that bad if people just want to watch. Now, the muscle bro calls out to the examiner, but our hero is surprised that it's someone else. Now, we see an old man snacking on something, and then he shows his face. Sei can't believe this, but the old man tells him that he is indeed the examiner. The rules are simple, as bro can do whatever he wants, with the focus being on showing his abilities. He even taunts everyone to come face him directly, and asks who would like to be first. Luna is hyped, so she says that she will go first. The old man says it's rare to see a monk with a saint class, and asks if Luna can use Holy Arrow as she is level 20. The nun girl says yes, and also mentions she can use Holy Light magic, but only on herself. This should be enough for her to pass, but the old man challenges her to fight him without using holy energy. Sei doesn't understand anything, so he tells Luna to try as many times as she wants. On that note, she brings out her holy rod, and Sei feels this should be fine for her, as she was able to strike the giant centipede with the same weapon. Now, she can channel all of her magical power, which is exactly what she does. In doing so, she lashes out a surge of blinding lights, so Sei is ready to witness some insane power. He does worry about the old man, but the geezer is thrilled to see this much energy. He even tells Luna to come strike him, so she does not hold back at all. A massive blast of power is unleashed, but what is the outcome of it? Luna now moves forward to strike the old man with the rod, and Sei feels it's a done deal, but the geezer dodges the move with ease. The impact feels like a storm, but it's of no use if she can't land a hit. Luna gets annoyed, so she starts swinging around aimlessly, and the old man dodges each of her strikes. Sei notices that the old man is using minimum movement to do this, because Luna's strikes are quite basic. Luna lashes out with an ultimate move, and everyone in the audience is stunned to see the amount of power she has. There's a lot of destruction, but the old man is still unharmed. He has his sword pointed at Luna, and tells her that's enough. Everyone is stunned by what they have just seen, as the old man asks Luna if she can still move. She's really tired, so she gets a spank, and is defeated. The examiner asks if she has any real combat experience, to which she says she's fought in the rogue maze, but this is only her second time with this weapon. Sei is even more shocked by the fact that her encounter against the giant centipede was her first real-life battle. The old man says Luna has good abilities, but she fails because of low combat experience. Scarlet and Zofie aren't thrilled by this, but the old man tells Luna to come back after she's gained some experience in the labyrinth. Anyway, Sei cheers for Luna, but she feels she looked pathetic during the test. Our hero tells her she was quite amazing, so they should work hard and try again. After all, she does have the strength needed to be a good ally, despite low experience. The exam grounds get repaired, and now it's time for Zofie to do her thing. She vanishes by using one of her skills, and this makes Scarlet cheer for her. The old man figures out that she is an assassin class, but he manages to knock out her weapon when she goes for the kill. He says her ability doesn't work in an open field, and reminds her that she can use throwing techniques too. She fails too and is told to come back with a mixed range of weapons. That's 2 failures back to back, and now it's time for Scarlet to fight. Sei wants to see how she goes about this, considering she graduated top of her class. Scarlet tells the old geezer not to complain if he gets hurt, as she summons a very powerful spell. Everyone in the audience is impressed, including Sei and the examiner. Scarlet has got nice magical control, and she brings out her great fireball. It's a pretty massive fireball, and she directs it at the old man. Scarlet goes full power, and it truly does look like she may have outdone herself. The audience feels that the old man is toast because the attack will not allow for dodging. However, he brings out his sword and slashes the fireball in half, which astounds everyone. Gramps is aura farming to the max, but Sei has seen through the move. Wooden swords would normally shatter upon impact, but the old man filled it up with magical energy and made it barely touch the fireball. He then guided the momentum with a slight touch of the blade, which allowed him to take care of the giant one. The old man swiftly takes care of the smaller fireballs too, so at this point, he has main character energy too. There's another big attack coming from above, but the examiner calmly picks up a massive floor tile and uses it to counter the move. Scarlet is frozen in disbelief, but the old man says she has exceptional control for someone so young. She has a high level spread across all categories, so she passes. Everyone cheers for her, but she feels the old geezer is a freak. Luna and Zoffy are glad that someone from the party has passed, but Sei doesn't get the hype. Our hero is next and everyone is watching, but then the old man points out that Sei is a carrier. This makes the audience question his skills, as he should be a luggage boy. Everyone laughs at Sei, apart from his babes, and then he asks the old man if he is surprised to see a carrier challenging for bronze rank. On the contrary, the old man says he is surprised that a man of Sei's caliber is a carrier. Sei is amazed that the old man was able to assess him without using any appraisal skills at all, but he says that veterans like himself have a keen instinct for assessing an opponent's strength. With that, Sei prepares himself by bringing out his sword, and he would appreciate feedback on his technique. The crowd continues to laugh, because they can't believe a carrier is going to use a sword. They keep throwing taunts at Sei, saying he will lose within 3 seconds, but our hero is unbothered. He activates Giga Chad Pro Max level and surges with energy, and the old man is impressed because carriers don't usually have high mana or finesse in control. Sei is achieving high-level reinforcement magic with minimal mana, which is amazing. Sei wonders if this is enough to pass the test, but then the old man calls for a proper sword. He says that mana control won't be enough to strike down monsters, so it's time to have a go. Even more people start to fill up the arena, and Sei does not want to reveal all his abilities to such a large crowd, but he knows he may have to go all out here. With that, the duel begins, and it's just as exciting as one would have imagined. Sei charges at the old man, but he is able to counter the blow. The both of them keep going at it, and even though neither one is showing any signs of struggle, there's a lot of power being unleashed. Sei is pushed back momentarily, but he regains his position and attacks again. He dodges a sudden attack and launches a counter, but the old man is up to the task. Now Sei has to fend off a blow, and then he's on the defensive for a while. However, he manages to regain his ground and continue the fight. He launches a strong move, but the old man blocks it. He does say that Sei can launch powerful hits with great accuracy, but his eyes are giving away his moves. Sei takes this chance to land a kick, but the geezer blocks it. He strikes Sei again, who blocks, but also says that he's still taking it easy. He urges Sei to come at him with full force, and points out that he hesitates for a split second whenever there's an opening to attack. There's definitely an ace up our hero's sleeve, especially with his chaotic strikes. The old man comments that Sei changed his center of gravity 7 times during one attack, which is a bit extra. He seems to be uncertain of his next moves, because he has made several plans to defeat the examiner. The old man wants to see one of these plans in action, but the audience is amazed that Sei is able to keep up with the geezer, who is also getting a bit serious. He says that Sei's blade work has elegance, so he may have noble or knight blood. His sword is sculpted well with true silver alloy, with a design unique to the Amberia's nobility. For it to end up in a carrier's hand could mean only one thing, but before the old man can say it, our hero manages to cut his collar. The audience goes crazy because that was a really close one. Now, Sei has had enough, so he activates Killing Intent, which is sensed by the assassin girl Zoffy. It looks like we're gonna get really serious now, but something disturbs the examiner, so he puts his sword back in and says that Sei has passed the test. Our hero has to calm down now, and his babes as well as the crowd are astounded that he got through. Sei reveals that the old man was much stronger than he had anticipated, and admits he was severely outmatched. The old man says it's not true because he was trying to hide his panic in order to avoid losing aura points. He hopes Sei learned a lot here, and also tells him that he does not wish to pry into our hero's secrets. At the same time, the examiner reveals his own secret. A great martial artist once said that there's no need to fear those who rely on weapons, as they are just tools. You can learn a lot more by studying your opponent's breath, posture, and movements. If Sei can master this art, then he will become unbeatable, and his power will transcend any class restrictions. The geezer knows that the labyrinth of Lothos is facing an anomaly, so it's a rather exciting time for a newbie of this quality to arrive. He also says that a carrier named Sei is indeed a name worth noting. With that, our hero has managed to clear the first round, but the real test will begin now. How is he going to clear the dungeon with a level 38 master? Will his harem be able to keep up with him? And what exactly is the deal with this old man? There's a lot more to unfold in this story, but unfortunately, this video has come to an end for today. Like, share, and subscribe if you like the new hero Sei, and want to see more of him and his story unfold with his babes. Who do you like the most out of the three? Is it Luna, Scarlet, or Zoffy? I was thinking of a shorter video this time because I want to know if you guys prefer this length, but figured I should maintain the standard. Let me know in the comments if you love the story, and I'll make more parts accordingly. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.